Good evening, everybody. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner. How are you guys this evening? I know this is kind of an impromptu. A lot of you guys are pretty much expecting me to get on YouTube on this particular day because that's about the only day I seem to really have off. How you guys doing? I want to know how you guys are doing. Um, so if you guys are watching me, and I'm gonna give you a couple minutes to kind of come in here and we'll all get together and whatever. Just let me know how you guys are doing. I'm really interested. I really want to know how things are going for you. You guys have been asking about me. Hey, Crazy Josh Cravey. Hello, hello. How are you doing? So please, everybody, come on in and we'll talk and we'll get through this. How are things in my neck of the woods? Well, first of all, I'll tell you that it has become easier and easier for me to buy groceries and other things. There are some things I can't really get my hands on, but there are a lot of things I can now get my hands on, and that's good. So shopping is not near as an experience for me as it normally is. The second thing that has come up, though, you have to keep in mind, my mother is 76 years old, or soon will be. Okay, and so she can't do it. There's a lot of things she can do, and there are some things she can't. And whatever she can't do, I do for her. And right now, with this current situation, she doesn't get out too much. I'm not saying she doesn't get out, but she doesn't get out a lot. So there's a lot of times where I have to run errands for her, which is great. I mean, that's what a son does. Crazy Josh Cravey says, I'm doing well as I can during these times, taking classes online now. This very moment, I am reviewing my food handler's card as I will start my new retail job this week, or at least the training. Congratulations, Crazy Josh Cravey, on that. I'm glad to hear that you said that. I'm glad you were able to get a job. I'm glad everything's working out for you, so on and so forth. Living in this house, I have to mow my yard. That is something else that has come up, and it is eating away at my time. You have to keep in mind that when I have only 2 days off in a week, keep that in mind, and I'm having to run errands from time to time for my mother, and then on top of that, I have to go and mow the yard. It does consume a lot more of my time. So I don't get the chance to just sit down, create notes, make videos, etc., etc. Now, you also have to keep in mind that I am trying to attract tourism to Illinois. Okay, this is something you may not have known, but I am trying to get tourism to Illinois, and for a good reason. The reason I'm trying to do this is because of what Governor Pritzker announced on April 23rd. Now, if you are not familiar with what he did on April 23rd, I will tell you. He announced that Illinois will be on lockdown until May the 30th. However, now businesses that are non-essential can allow people to order their stuff online, and they can either have it shipped to their house or they can have it picked up right there at the store. So that is one thing that is changing. However, some businesses are not set up that way, and it is going to be kind of a struggle for them. So they're going to be scrambling to try to set all this up, which it's not going to be easy for them, and I know that. So the first thing I want to do, though, is I want to see how you guys did with Easter. How was Easter for all of you? I got a cool shirt. It has the periodic table on the front of it, and it's really cool. It really is. And they had these rubber hamburger and rubber pretzel things, and my sister got both of them for me. So that's kind of cool too. So how was you guys' Easter? I'd like to know. So comment on that. Let me know, etc., etc. how shall I say this? So anyway, I'm not gonna be able to do it tonight because I'm not gonna have a whole lot of time to spend over here. Okay, Crazy Josh Cravey said mine was very uneventful. My family attended church via Zoom. I'm glad to hear that. I'm very glad to hear that, Crazy Josh Cravey. That's very good to hear. Oh boy. Keep getting interrupted with these notifications. Okay, but anyway, so the next thing that I'd like to talk about is I got a response finally from somebody. I had done a video response to David Pawson, and if you don't know who he is a reverend of a church, and he took all of his sermons that he videotaped at his church and just suddenly loaded them up on YouTube, which in itself is not a bad thing. But the thing is, he didn't adjust the videos for the new audience that he had. YouTube is not the same as a church congregation. I can tell you that right now. I have been dealing with some pretty weird YouTubers, and it's the same thing on Twitter. It's the same thing on Facebook. But anyway, while I'm trying to advertise the Route 66 and the Looking for Lincoln Heritage Coalition wayside markers to attract tourism to Illinois, and he said, well, we can't tourists right now. That's true, they can't. But these restrictions that they have are eventually going to go away. And when they do, not if, but when they do, then these people can start coming into Illinois. And really, Illinois right now, if you saw the southern part of the state, you would know how much they need tourism right at this very moment. So I'm doing my best to help them out. Okay, so while I'm dealing with all this, I get all these weird people. And yes, some of them are very, very weird. So anyway, so when it came to David Pawson, as I'm dealing with all these weird people I deal with on YouTube, I also get a response from my video response to David Pawson. And the guy who responded to me, he's a really nice guy. His initial response wasn't all that nice, but when we got to know each other a little bit, he was a pretty nice guy. He turned out to be very, very nice. And I'm glad he responded to me. And this had to do with my response on the topic of the book of Proverbs, and specifically what David Pawson said about it. And I'm not going to make my full response tonight, but I am going to go ahead and tell you the basics of what happened. When you make a presentation on YouTube, you have to adjust to the new audience. Churchgoers pretty much they pretty much comprehend certain things, usually, unless of course you go to a church where they don't tell you a whole heck of a lot, and then that becomes a little more difficult. But if you're going to a normal church and they really do explain things well, you pretty much comprehend things. But if you have YouTubers that don't go to church very often or have not found a really good church or whatever, maybe they don't know certain things, then you got a new nightmare on your hands. Okay. And this all has to do with the word proverb. Now, you have to keep in mind that I'll go away. Okay, fine. Thank you for telling me. Okay. Okay. Now, how many of you people remember when I told you guys about the word etymology, the study of word origins? How many of you people remember that? I have said this several times in several videos. So if you're one of my regular students, you should know this by now. Anyway, When the Bible was created, there were sections of the Bible that were strict authoritarian, like Exodus. Exodus was part history, but it was part authoritarian, direct from God. God said, you did. That's the way it was. Proverbs was primarily written, these were documents that were written by both David and Solomon. Okay? And they're definitely wise things to hear. No question about that. But they weren't exactly, it wasn't like the situation where God was sitting with Moses and he says, hey, I'm going to speak and you're going to write. Okay, that was the way it was between God and Moses. He said, hey, I speak, you write, that's it. These are things that David wrote himself. Solomon wrote himself. You get the picture here? And they were included in the Bible, but it wasn't like they were taking dictation from God the same way as God gave dictation in the book of Exodus. See what I mean? Now then, the problem comes when you are teaching a particular lesson. If you do not clarify that for your YouTube audience, and then you stand there and say, well, Proverbs is generally true. Well, there are lots of people that will latch onto that and say, hey, you said that the Bible was generally true, so that means part of it's false, so therefore we should in it. Yeah, not a smart thing to do on YouTube. Not at all. So this is where David Pawson made his mistake. He was standing there saying, well, Proverbs is generally true. To not qualify that with a statement saying Proverbs wasn't written the same way as Exodus or Deuteronomy or Genesis, it wasn't written that way, then you can comprehend where somebody might get a really bad message, and then after that, it becomes a nightmare. And that's what I was trying to critique on. I was like, either the Bible is 100% accurate or it's not. It is held to that standard. Well, if you comprehend the way that certain sections of the Bible were written, as opposed to other sections of the Bible, then you can say, well, the stuff where God was dictating to people like Moses or to the apostles or whoever, those things, there's no contradiction. That is 100% accurate, whatever. These were just more, the Proverbs were just more of thoughts from David and Solomon. God wasn't giving dictation to them the same way as he was doing to Moses or to Paul or to any of the other apostles, or you get the picture, okay? Because a lot of this Bible is history. Some of it is direct dictation from God, and anything that was direct dictation from God, that's accurate. 100%. You can't question that. But these Psalms and Proverbs were more or less thoughts of David and Solomon. They weren't written the same way as the historical documentation or the dictation directly from God. Are you seeing the difference? And so if you're saying Proverbs is generally true, first of all, you have to define the word proverb. And this is where etymology comes into play. This is why I need you to know what the word etymology is and how to use it. Now, I looked up the etymology of proverb. You have a Latin prefix, which means to put forward. You're now presenting something. And then you have the root word verbum, which happens to be the Latin noun verbum, which is word. So you're putting forth words. Okay. So this is not the same thing as a dictation. And that's what I'm trying to get at here. Are you comprehending all this? I hope you are. Anyway, so when you understand the structure of the Bible, you can say Proverbs is generally true, But things like Exodus and Deuteronomy and Genesis and Leviticus and that kind of thing, that's the real Torah. And that is totally 100% unequivocally accurate to the decimal point and cannot be debated in any way, shape, or form. What's there is there, the end. And that's how you can say that. And if you say it that way, it's not so bad. You can say that the Bible is true, even though Proverbs and Psalms, though written by David and Solomon and containing a lot of wisdom, that was generally true, whereas things like the 5 basic books of the Torah, that's absolutely true. The end. But David Pawson didn't explain it that way, and that's why I went off on him. Okay? So I will make an update to that video. Now you say, well, why you put this up in 2012? My response was put up in 2012. Why haven't you ever made an update to it explaining all this since you put up that original video? Well, first of all, I have to say in 2012, nobody explained any of this to me either. And that's when I became associated with James Patrick Holding, who finally explained all this and got it clarified for me. After the clarification, I thought to myself, this would be a good way to see if my students would even bother watching my response to David Pawson, and number 2, would ever bother to respond to it. Now think about it. That video has been up there for 8 years, and I've had like 3 or 4 mediocre responses to it. Mediocre. That means hardly anybody responded. And so you have to ask yourself, okay, now ask yourself this and think about it for just a second. 1, the title of the video is My Response to David Pawson. Unless you knew who David Pawson was and why I would even respond to him, would you really watch that video? Probably not. 2, even if you did know who David Pawson was and knew why I was responding to him, think about it. There is actually no description of that video in the description box. I deliberately left it off. Why? Because I wanted you guys to watch my educational playlist first, then watch that. Because it wasn't the central focus of my channel. My channel is to teach you guys speed reading, memory techniques, mathematics, computer terminology, etc., etc., etc. Anything that I really want you to know, memory, I had all that memory skill videos. I wanted you to watch those playlists first. Then, if you had time left over, you could go ahead and watch something like that. And then we could have a conversation about that, because I would be dealing with intelligent enough people to deal with that. You see the difference? And that's why I did what I did. I have left it off for years to see if somebody was going to give me an intelligent feedback. And finally got some intelligent feedback. And yes, not this time, but next time, I will get on the air and I will make a full update to that original response to David Pawson and clarify all this. I just didn't feel like taking the time tonight to do this, and there is a good reason as to why. I'm going to tell you about my experience on April 23rd this year, and I wanted to see if you guys had any similar experiences as you've been out and about, you've been shopping, you've been driving around, whatever, possibly talking to your friends, whatever. I wanted to see if your experiences were anything like mine on April 23rd. You say, well, what was your experience on April 23rd? Well, this was the day that J.B. Pritzker got on the air and told all Illinoisans that the lockdown was going to be extended until May 30th. Right afterwards, I went to the store to run errands for my mother and for myself as well. And when I got to the store, no sooner than I climbed out of the car and was headed straight for the store. I was walking towards the store. I could already hear people talking about how they felt about Pritzker's speech, and it wasn't very happy. That most of them were not happy about this at all. Okay, they really not happy. They're miserable. They really are. You could tell how unhappy they were. Have you guys been hearing stuff like this? You know, they get told there's going to be an extension of the lockdown. Have you heard about any of this? I mean, does that affect any of you the same way as, you know, I was listening. I was like, oh boy, this is wow. So, because of how unhappy these people really were, and boy, were they very unhappy. I can't even go into all the unhappy that I heard. It was really not nice. And I have been seeing this on Facebook and Twitter, and oh my gosh, I just keep getting all this feedback. That's why I'm going to present some information to you. And this information is very, very important for you to know. And the reason why it's very important for you to know is because we cannot live our lives in fear. We can live our lives in concern, but not in fear. And some of these people are, you could make a haunted house worse than what these people are going through right now. They are more afraid of a virus than they are of a haunted house. Now that's true. I have heard this myself. I work in retail. I talk to customers every day, and I can tell you I'm hearing it. They are deathly afraid. Okay, that's how they are. And the information I'm going to provide tonight hopefully will end a lot of this fear. We don't want people not being concerned about all this. We certainly do. That's not what this is all about. Okay, I want you to be concerned, because this is not a pleasant experience we're going through right now. All right. Actually, I've had friends of mine who have had people get sick with this stuff, and one or two of them have actually lost people because of it. And I feel my heart just breaks for them. It really does. And I also know there's a lot of people out there who just don't want to hear about this anymore. I can understand that. I have been watching the news. I have been pumped with the stuff 24 freaking hours a day. That is not a joke, folks. They are just pumping information to me right and left. So if there's anybody that doesn't want to think about it anymore, you're talking to him. I just don't want to think about it anymore. But we're going to have to wear our masks starting on May 1st. Have you guys been ordered to wear your masks yet? Let me know over here if you've been ordered to wear your masks, because Illinois, as of May 1st, will have to wear their masks. Let me know. I really want to know. So, please let me know. I'd like to know. Anyway, so the information I'm going to give to you guys, I understand that some of you people are having to make your own masks. Let me know if you've had to make your own mask. Okay. I got friends of mine that are making their masks, making masks for me. Buying them right now is a joke. I can tell you that, right? You try to buy them. Yeah. So I got some friends making some masks for me. And that's because I'm an essential worker. I have to work. Listen, I had to work 2 night shifts the last 2 nights, and I got 3 more to work after tonight. That is not a joke. That's real. That's just how it is. And I spend an hour every night cleaning restrooms, cleaning other things, making sure the floors are nice and clean, trash is emptied, you name it. So there's a lot of cleaning that goes on after where I work. Once where I work is closed, because I work in retail. Once our store is closed, I have to then go out and do all this cleaning. And it's rough. It's really rough. All right, I see there's now 3 people in my live stream. Let me know who you are. I'd love to hear from you. But I want to know: are you doing extra cleaning at your jobs? Um, uh, do you now have to wear masks? Do you have to? Um, uh, what extra things do you have to do now that you weren't doing before this whole thing came down? I'd like to know. So please tell me whatever it is that you guys are having to do now because of all this. I really need to know. I'd love to know, actually. I just love to know what you guys are having to do now that's different. How about stores closing early? That has affected me because there were a lot of times I was able to get off work and go to a store and buy my stuff before I went home. Now I can't do that. So on my days off, I have to go to the store. In addition to all the cooking and mowing the yard and running errands and you name it. So let me know. This is what, okay. My job will require that I wear a mask and gloves. I'm sorry to hear that. And I know the suffering you're going to go through. I've already been through it. So yes, I know you're going to suffer a lot, but I wanted to say, I'm glad you're going to do this. I'm thrilled you're going to do this. And I applaud you. I literally applaud you. Okay? I know it's going to be hard on you. I know it's going to be rough on you. I understand it. I've been through it myself. And you're talking to a guy who cleans restrooms, who cleans trash, who does this, who does that. Trust me, I know what you're going through. So if there's anybody that understands your situation, you're talking to him. I understand more than you realize. Has the stores closing affected how you've had to do things? Has that affected your schedule, video making, or whatever? Let me know. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to see if I just want to check real quick. Let's see here. Hold on. I'm trying to invite Survival on a Budget Made Easy. Okay. Okay. Crazy Josh Cravey says, as I haven't started work yet, it hasn't affected my work. Well, I'm glad to hear that. But as you start working, if your stores close early, remember your days off are going to probably be spent trying to get stuff at the store, or you may have to do other activities like running errands for other people, that kind of thing, or even just simply making masks for yourself so you can actually go into the stores. This is the thing that has changed or will change on May 1st. Everybody has to wear a mask to go into a store to buy merchandise. So not only are you working with a mask, but now you have to go into the stores wearing one just to buy milk and eggs and everything else, which is a pain. All right. So anyway, well, look, as I'm a full-time student, I will only be working several hours a day. Okay, yeah. Well, see, I work I work a full-time schedule. It can vary on a week between 35 and 40 hours a week. So you have this 35 to 40-hour week job. Then you have on your days off, you have to go to the store, you have to mow your yard and take care of your house, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they try to prepare notes for a live stream. Yeah, that doesn't work out too well, especially when you get bombarded. You have to keep in mind, I'm being bombarded by my other students about this whole situation. Are you comprehending this? I'm getting feedback every day, literally. Oh well, this is happening. This is happening. Da 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 da. I'm getting the feedback, and so it's tough for me to prepare a lesson. To stand there and talk about math doesn't suck. Yeah, I got to sit down. I got to read it. Even though I'm a faster reader than many of my students, I still have to read the material, take it into myself, decide what I want to tell people, and then actually make the formal presentation. That's not so easy, especially as I am also advertising these Looking for Lincoln and Route 66 wayside markers to attract future tourist traffic to Illinois. Are you seeing how overwhelmed I am at this point? Yeah. Got to get sleep sometime. But anyway, there's some information I need to present to you guys. And it is critical that I present this to you because, one, you probably won't get this from anybody else. And number two, even if you do, how often does somebody send you an article, like an internet article or even a newspaper article or a video, which is another one that they try to send me? You know, videos are hard to deal with. The reason I say that is that when somebody sends you a video, you actually have to watch the whole thing. Okay? It's not like a web article where you can use your speed reading skills and just slide down real quick, get all the information you need, and then go on. That's not the same way it works. So, therefore, are you getting this? All right. Anyway, what's the first piece of information I'm going to give to you people tonight? And this is important. You need to know this stuff because you're going to get this. Let's see. Let's see. Come on. No, I don't want that. Go away. No, I don't want to talk to these people. Sorry about this. I'm trying to get some information. I posted some of this on my, stop it, on my YouTube channel. And some of this, no, don't do that. Okay. And some of this, I posted on, some of this information I posted on Facebook. Some of it I posted on Twitter. And so if you haven't been following my Twitter feed and you haven't been following my Facebook page, you may not have seen all this information. But I'm going to give you this information anyway, mainly because I think you need to know it. Okay. First piece of information. This one comes from Gentleman's Quarterly. And I'm going to put the hyperlink. I'm going to put some hyperlinks in my little description here. Okay, this article is from Gentleman's Quarterly. And you need to almost ignore the first section because first section is just simply not true. The second section, that's the one you really need to pay attention to. What it basically tells you is that there was a guy and he was trying to, I think it was trying to show everybody that this virus was being transmitted person to person. And he needed these people to know this. Only there's a rule at the FDA where if you have something to send to them for them to consider, you have to not only burn it onto a disk, but also make a paper copy. You have to mail it to them. So he had to mail all this information overnight to them. That's crazy. Okay. Now then, let's see here. I think there was something else here. I'm going to try to look it up. And stop it. Go away. Go away. Oh, no. Oh, go away. Okay. Probably gonna have to go to my Twitter feed. Hopefully I can get on Twitter. Go away. Oh, aha! I'm on. Yay! Yeah. All right. Now, I'll have to scroll down for a little bit. Now, all right. Now, I know I'm just kind of going along here, but I want to tell you guys that the CDC itself, not the World Health Organization, but the CDC itself, did not inform everybody that this virus was transmittable person to person until the very end of January. So anything that President Trump said prior to the end of January, well, he was speaking under a pretense. He did not realize, because nobody had told him yet, that this thing really was transmittable person to person. So you can't take the context of anything that President Trump said in January without realizing that he did not know it was person to person transmittable. He didn't know that until well into the latter half of January. Okay, even the CDC itself did not declare this until the very end of January. That is true. And that is part of the reason why President Trump declared the travel ban to China. Now, what you people also are not being told is that the Wuhan province was not allowing the people living in that area, to travel to other parts of China, but they were allowed to go to other nations like Great Britain, France, Italy, the United States. Okay, they were being allowed to go to these places in January, but they couldn't go to other places in China. That is another fact that they're not telling you. I wish they were. But anyway, here's another thing they're not telling you, and I'll get down here just a second. Okay. Now you say, well, how do we know for sure that the CDC had not told anybody about the person-to-person transmission until January 30th? Well, the answer is right here. This is why I teach you guys to speed read and memorize things. You need to know this. Okay, you're going to have conversations with your friends. I'm sorry you have to. I don't want you to have this. Okay, I don't want you to have all these conversations. I really don't. I'd rather you talk about pleasant things. But unfortunately, these conversations are going to come up. And you need to tell people this. It helps people comprehend what's been really going on out there. And there's a lot been going on. And I'm sorry I have to present all this stuff to you. But like I said, what I saw on April 23rd, I felt bad. I really felt bad for everybody. I really did. And I didn't want to feel like that, but I really felt bad for everybody. So that's why I'm presenting this stuff. Hopefully on my next live stream, I won't have to present any of this. Says, Survival on a Budget Made Easy says, I am not going to be able to watch the live stream. I keep having buffering issues. Tried to watch on cell phone and Roku. I will have to watch the replay. HughesNet stinks. Sorry. That's perfectly okay. I comprehend. Thank you very much. And I hope you watch at some point. Thank you. All right. Now, there's another article that I wanted to share with you people, and it's very important that you see it. Here we go. Okay. The article I'm going to show you in itself is not such a big deal, but I want you to take a look at the group photo. That's the big deal. I want you to take a look at the group photo. This is very important. And you say, well, who's in this photo? Well, I'm going to explain who's in this photo. The first person you're going to see is Bill Gates Sr. Okay. Bill Gates Sr. is the father of Bill Gates. Okay. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Bill Gates. This is the same guy that co-created Microsoft, the whole corporation. He was once a lauded hero from me personally. I liked the guy at one time. He took on Steve Jobs and put Steve Jobs in his place. That was great. I was thrilled with that. Okay? Now, here's the problem. The problem is that this is also the same Bill Gates that invented Common Core. And as you know, I don't like Common Core at all. There's no question about it. I just don't. But now he wants to create a vaccine for this virus. But from what I hear, and I've heard hearing a lot of scuttlebutt about this, he also wants to put an RFID chip in this thing. Now, I don't know if he ever will or not, but that's the scuttlebutt I've been getting, that he wants to put an RFID chip in every vaccine. That's not okay with me. I don't mind the vaccine, but I'm not going to have some freaking chip put in my arm because of him. No. But anyway, you say, well, okay, who else is in this picture? Well, the other people in this photo are as follows. If you'll look carefully, you'll see Barbara Walters in this photo. Why is she there? Because she is one of the very important people of ABC News. Now, who owns ABC News? Well, used to, ABC News owned itself, but now they're owned by Disney. This is the same Disney that's having a real problem right now because they had to close down their theme parks. Did you know about that? Mm-hmm. Who else is in this picture? Well, how about Tom Brokaw? He's a very important person at NBC News. Now, I don't know his exact position, but I know he is a part of NBC News. This is NBC Universal. This is partly owned by Microsoft. That's why hence MSNBC. Get in the picture now? You say, well, wait a minute, that's NBC Universal that also owns Comcast. Mm-hmm. A lot of connections there. A lot of connections you didn't know. But anyway, who else is in this photo? Well, Anthony Fauci is also in this photo. That's true. Mm-hmm. But there's yet another person you should have noticed in this photo. If you don't know who he is, you need to look him up. His name is George Soros. These people know each other. Make no mistake, they know each other. They're pretty friendly. Look at the photo. They're pretty dang friendly. This will get you thinking. Why are all these people in this photo? Better think about that. I can't give you the whole answer, but I think if you really research the whole thing and figure it out, you'll get, oh, and there's one other person in this photo that you need to take notice of. Ted Turner. Who's Ted Turner? He was the founder of CNN. You mean all these people know the founder of CNN and they're having a photo taken with this guy? Yep. It's true. All true. Check it out. Interesting, huh? Okay. So enough about those people. Let's go back up just a little bit. Okay. Another piece of information you need to know. Damn it. Stop it. Now, when they started testing for this virus, this nasty little virus, the tests were tainted. We have proof of this, and this article will prove everything. Hope you'll check into that too. These tests were tainted. That's why they couldn't get accurate results. Okay? It's true. Finally, they got some real tests in here, and I know they have because on April 19th, Crossings here in Decatur, Illinois, finally started some real good testing. And I'm glad they did. And we're getting some much better results than we have been previously. But when they first started, they weren't getting good tests. And I don't recall exactly, because you'll have to read the whole article to exactly how long they had these tests, but it was a while, and they weren't very accurate. So it became a nightmare. But the next thing I want you to check out, and this is also very, very important. Governor Pritzker wants all Illinois citizens to wear their masks when they go to the store, when they go shopping. Okay, fine. However, I would think that if any of the people that would want to set a proper example for everybody else, because if you're a leader, you know, when somebody is leading somebody else, okay, when somebody is leading somebody else, then you need to set the example for everybody else. It's just like in the military. Whoever your commanding officer is, whatever he does, you should be doing because he's doing it first. It's just like me to all of you. I told you I speed read. I taught you how to do it. I want you to do the same thing. The same thing with memory techniques. I learned memory techniques. I shared them with you, and I want you to do the same thing because I've done them. That's what a leader does. A leader says, I do this, and I want you to do the same thing. I learned all those computer terms. I shared them with you. I want you to know those computer terms. Why? Because they're constantly telling us, learn to code, learn to code. Well, I'm teaching you how to code. I've taught all this. You've seen 159 videos on there. Well, 158. There'll be a 159th video if somebody ever catches up. But anyway, I learned Italian. I taught you Italian. I want you to learn Italian for a good reason. And I'm not just doing that just to say, I want you to learn Italian. I want you to learn Italian because you need it. And I could go on and on, but I'm not going to go on and on. But when people in the United States House of Representatives are in session, the thing you want them to do is to set an example for everybody else. You want them to stand there and say, hey, you know what? We do this. We want you to do the same thing. They set the example. You follow the example. This is even true in Christianity. Jesus says, I do this. I want you to do the same. So, all these people want you to wear masks. They tell you to wear masks. They tell you to social distance, whole 9 yards. Okay? Let me ask you this. Take a look at this link. And I want you to tell me if this is setting a good example for you. I want you to tell me if this particular person of the House of Representatives is setting a proper example for you because they want you to wear masks. You tell me that. Take a look at that. Is that setting a proper example? I wonder. But I'm going to give you yet another link. Tell me, is this setting a proper example? Tell me that. Now, once you look at this picture, I want you to go find the speech. This speech was actually made on April 23rd, the same day that Governor Pritzker told all of us to wear masks. Same day. You tell me. And the last little video I just shared with you, that was also done on April 23rd. The same day that Governor Pritzker told all of us to wear masks, both of those things happened. You tell me if that's a proper example. Think about it. So, this is what I'm telling you guys. I honestly believe if you want people to do something, you have to set the proper example. This is not the proper example. Period. And if you look up that speech by Nancy Pelosi, you've seen the picture, you will see that she rubbed her nose and whatever was coming out of her ended up on that lectern. What she was standing in front, what she was standing behind was a lectern. I know they always call it a podium, but really the correct term is lectern. She was standing behind a lectern. And whatever she was rubbing off her nose ended up on that lectern. It wasn't pleasant. That's not a proper example. At least not in my books. I don't know about your books, but not my books. All right. Now, the last thing I'm going to share with you guys I did see a web article where a governor can exercise his emergency powers here in Illinois for 30 days. Governor Pritzker has exercised his emergency powers for 90 days. That means he has exceeded his executive power. Okay? This is absolute fact. You can look this up for yourself. As a matter of fact, a member of the Illinois State House of Representatives, Illinois State Senate. An Illinois state senator has now decided to sue Governor Pritzker. You can look this up for yourself and see it. But anyway, so Survival on a Budget Made Easy actually signed I'm sorry. Scratch that. Scratch all that. Okay. Survival on a Budget Made Easy shared a post on my Facebook page, and I'm glad he did. I wanted to show you what was going on in Macon County specifically with this virus. Okay. We did not have our first suspected case of this virus until March 28th. That's true. Okay. And the first confirmed case was not known to us until April 8th, and that is because they were still having problems getting testing kits to everybody in the nation. I know New York got overwhelmed, and so therefore they had to deal with them before they could deal with us. And that's fine. Anyway, hold on. So we did not have our first confirmed case until the 8th of April. By, well, the number of cases we had, I don't know if that's accurate or not. It wasn't too long after that we ended up with 13 cases. By April 13th, we had 42 confirmed cases. And then we had someone who perished. Okay. Now, if you divide 1 by 42, okay, you have to divide the number of people who perished by the number of people who had the actual virus. How do you see why it is so important to know mathematics? Okay. On that day, you had a 2% chance of perishing from this virus, because what happens is 1 divided by 42 is 0.02. Okay. In order to get your percent, you're going to have to move that decimal places 2 places to the right. And when you do that, it comes out to 2%. So you could say on the 13th of April that if you had caught the virus back then, you would have had a 2% chance of perishing. Now, this, of course, would change, because the more accurate tests that came out, the better results we got. Now, as of the 19th of April, I'll go ahead and show you this. We finally got confirmed 54 cases. And 7 people perished from that. Okay. Mostly from a nursing home here in Decatur. So now we do the math. And 7 divided by 54. Let me do this for you. Is 12.9. It's 12.9%. Okay, 7 divided by 54 is 12.9%. Okay. Now, between 4/19, okay, that would be April 19th, between April 19th and 4/23, between 4/19 and 4/23, our case count went from 54 to 96. That's actually doubled. But the number of people that perished from this disease went from 7 to 10. All right, 10 divided by 96 is 10.4. So we had 12.9% of the people dying 4 days before 4/23 or April 23rd. And then that ratio went down from 12.9% to 10.4. Are you seeing now? This is why you need to know your mathematics. Now, we have 104,000 people in Macon County. That is not a joke. We have 104,000 people in the entire Macon County. And these are Macon County statistics, by the way. So, if you have 104,000 people, which is the bigger number, and you have 96 cases, okay? You have 96 cases of corona and 104,000 people, then 96 divided by 104,000 is about, it's 1/10 of 1%. 1/10 of 1% that you're going to catch this thing if you were living here in Macon County. 1/10 of 1%. That's pretty good odds. And if you do catch it, you're going to have a 10% chance of perishing. A 10% chance. Let me tell you something. What that translates into is that it'd be like if you had the lottery. Okay? If you had the lottery and you were told that if you played the lottery, you had a 90% chance of winning the lottery if you played it, wouldn't you play the lottery? Of course you would. That's what we're talking about here. So, now that you know all this, now there's one other thing you have to know. This is really, really important. Why did so many people perish in New York City? Well, I have a hypothesis about that. I can't confirm it because I don't live in New York City, but I can tell you of one event that people have not been factoring into this equation that they should be factoring. Yes, New York City is more densely populated than even Chicago. Chicago has 2.2 million people. New York City has 4 times that population. And that does play a role in all this. That's true. But, and I do say but, if you'll recall, back on September 11th, 2001, the World Trade Centers went, and I think you all remember how many commercials there have been about asbestos contamination, especially from that. You've heard it time and time again. This person died of asbestos from the World Trade Center collapsing. You hear this all the time. Okay. Now, let's say you were a New York City resident. You lived in New York City. You had been contaminated by the World Trade Center and the asbestos that came from that. Now you have to face the coronavirus? You think you'd really have a good chance? Bet not. I suspect, I hypothesize, I am forming a hypothesis right here, that the reason why so many people perished in New York City is because of the World Trade Center. They already had that stuff in their lungs, and then you add this. There you go. That's why their numbers are much higher than ours. At least that's my hypothesis anyway. You may not agree with me, and that's fine. But I think it makes logical sense, don't you? Do you see where I'm going with this? These are pieces of information you need to know, because if you're going to have a logical discussion with people that are absolutely frightened out of their minds, and I've seen it, and I feel horrible about that. I don't want people frightened out of their minds. I really don't. This is why. That's a lot of information I've been providing to you people. Now, the Department of, well, I won't even go into it, but I will say that uh, they have been doing research on ultraviolet light and this virus, and the results look very promising. And to have somebody official in the government stand up and say, guys, you need to check this out. That's pretty good information. So, anyway, I know I have presented a lot of information to you tonight, and I hope I don't have to do another live stream like this. Like I said, if it had not been for Governor Pritzker's speech on April 23rd and the subsequent speeches of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and also Nancy Pelosi on the very same day, I wouldn't have made all of this presentation. I would have gone back to the Math Doesn't Suck book, or possibly another remote control symbol lesson, or anything else. But I felt you needed to know all this. Hopefully, now you can explain to people what's really been going on. Okay? And maybe people will be a little more relaxed. Now, the thing I will tell you is that a lot of people have been saying, well, we got to wear these masks because they work. You know what? They've done scientific studies on this thing, and the results have been mixed. What's going to happen in Illinois for the next 30 days is going to be the ultimate experiment. We're going to find out for sure whether these masks work or not. And after the 30 days are up, I'm going to let you guys know how well the masks worked. And we'll see if it really did what it's supposed to do or it didn't. We will find out. I'll share with you the numbers, and we'll see for ourselves if this really worked or not. It might not. I don't know. We'll find out. But the thing is that the businesses need to get open. Oh, and one more thing. I heard from one of my customers that the protesters in Michigan were protesting because of their jobs. This is not true at all. They were being told that they could not mow the yards or plant a garden or ride in their motorboats or visit their own relatives. That's why they protested. Check it out. You'll find out I'm telling the truth. Unless I hear some other wacky, tacky, whatever thing on this whole mess, and I hope I don't. I hope I won't hear another thing that is just out of alignment with the stars. This will literally be the last presentation on this stuff. I'd like to get back to educating you people, but I will tell you this. In the future, jobs are going to require you to have an education. This is a fact. If you do, this is why I feel so, you know what? As bad as I feel for the graduates this year, I feel worse for the people that are going to have to go to school next year. Next fall, a bunch of kids are going to have to go back to school wearing masks, possibly wearing gloves, and not able to play on the playground equipment. And they're going to have to endure an entire summer of no swimming, and more importantly, no playground anything, no socializing, no cruising the strip. You know how people used to drive everywhere, and they can't even go out and see a movie in the movie theater. Oh, and let me tell you something. That's going to make for a new fall season, all right. Do you realize how many animated things you're going to see on television because of this? The actors can't perform. Okay? Kids are not going to be able to go to the circus or go to the movies or go anywhere. They're already going to be stressed out all summer long because they're trapped in their homes, and now send them back to school. With all that stress, yeah. It's bad enough that the people graduating will not have their prom and will not have their graduation. But then you add to this all those kids being stressed out and then have to go back to school. How about those college students? They're supposed to be partying all summer long. They can't do that, and now they have to go back to school. There's a thought. You think about that. You think long and hard about that. That's why I tell you this stuff. There's one answer to all this. One very good answer. The answer is right here. Learn how to speed read all that stuff I gave you, and all the other stuff I've given you over the last 11 years. Memorize all that stuff and utilize it, because there will be a time of the haves and the have-nots. It's here, people. Ask anybody that's unemployed right now, and they'll tell you about the haves and the have-nots. You'll either be the have or you'll be the have-not. I'm the have. Some of you, I don't know how many, but some of you are the have-nots. It doesn't have to be that way. It can be different. So, you think about that. Whew. All right. Now, I will tell you, in about a week or so, hours are going to ease up a little bit at my workplace. And so, therefore, I'm going to have a little more time on my hands. Not going to be a lot, but it will be a little, and I'll be able to finally sit down and take some proper notes and do some proper videos. So, like I said, if I don't hear anything other wacky, tacky, anything, we'll get back to a normal presentation. And next Sunday, we'll do a regular live stream like we should be doing, and I will be educating you like I should be. And you probably will see a couple more videos this week. They were from a live stream a while back, and I never got them up on the air. And I will actually do that. But I really want to thank you guys for watching me and learning all this stuff. Use your speed reading skills. Use those memory skills. Look up those links and start learning what I'm telling you. Okay? I'm getting this feedback. See, like I said, it's not that I wanted to do any of this. I didn't want to do any of this. But I'm getting a lot of feedback. And that feedback is saying, I need to do this. Or otherwise, my students are going to be too frightened to learn. If you are in perpetual fear, you will not learn a thing. That's unhealthy, and it won't work. Do you understand? I'm trying to give you guys facts, to get your mind straightened out a little bit, and to tell you guys that if you will learn, if you will speed read, if you will memorize things, if you will do what I told you to do from the beginning, you'll be okay. You don't have to be the have-nots. You can be the haves, and it can work for you. Well, anyway, I wanted to thank you guys all for watching this presentation. I'm sorry it couldn't be longer, but like I said, I didn't have my notes ready. It's just between mowing the yard and running errands and shopping when I'd rather just get off work and shop and do that, and then I don't have to go on my days off. I've had to do banking this week. Just one set of problems after the next. It's not that things are bad. It's just there's a lot of things to do. And mobile home inspections are coming up. And so therefore, I think you're getting it. So anyway, I wanted to thank you guys very much for watching this presentation. I hope you learned a lot today. Now, one other thing I wanted to cover real quick. Um, I've heard about the chemicals. I'm sure the chemical thing has been going on last couple of days. Heard about all that. All I'm going to say is this: I wrote a book a few years back called "The Key Is Logic." Needless to say, it wasn't a bestseller, but I covered this topic in that book a long time ago. It was all about lemmings and don't be a lemming. If you do not know what I mean by that, buy the book, read the book, and you'll figure it out. If you don't figure it out after you read that book, you let me know, and I'll help. I'll explain it to you. So, if there's anything you need from me in line of information, I am more than happy to provide it. I am reminded of a movie that showed on PBS way long ago. It was about the Cold War and what could have been, thankfully was not. It starred Jane Alexander and William Devane, and the movie was called Testament. Check it out. I highly recommend it. It was a really good movie. It's a real tearjerker. I'm not kidding you. You will cry by the end of this movie, but it really is really good movie. The thing is that I just want you to see it. I really do. It was a good movie. I hope you watch it. You can buy it on Amazon. Please watch it. I may review it at some point. And I guess the last thing I'll just tell you is don't be a lemming. If you don't know what I'm talking about, read The Key is Logic and you'll find out. If you don't know after that, let me know. I'll teach. But I really want to thank you guys very, very much for watching this presentation. I was thrilled to put it up there. I just didn't want to. I really wanted to go into something else, but I've been getting so much feedback and I've been getting so many things going on. I just had to tell you guys. I just had to tell you guys the truth. So, stay safe out there. Crazy Josh Cravey, I am proud of you for doing your job. Hang in there. I'm feeling for you. I really am. It's going to be a tough struggle for you. It's a tough struggle for me every day. I got your back on this one. But I do recommend, once you get done with your college studies and you're not doing that for this summer, I want you to learn everything I have to teach on this channel. Go through my playlist and start learning them. You need to do it now. Because the days of the haves and the have-nots is here, and I want you to be the have. If you have any questions, you ask me. I've got your back. Intellectually speaking, I've got your back. I'll walk you every step of the way. And I am so sorry, everybody, that I had to make this presentation. If I had not seen what I saw on April 23rd, I would have done a completely different live stream. But what I saw on April 23rd said, I better tell you guys this stuff. I better tell you. And now you know. All right. Let's try to get into something a little different next time. I will try to take some notes. Like I said, my work week will be a little easier this next week. So I will be able to finally make some notes and get things done. I'll be able to do some lawn mowing. I will be able to get some of my shopping done on a different day. And I won't have to run around and act like a monkey with, you get the idea. I won't have to act like a monkey. That's the basic thing. I won't have to do that. But one of the things I'm so thankful for was I was able to get on here tonight and talk to you and share this information to you. I was able to give you this information. I've had to dig it up really quick, and I'm sorry I had to do this, but you need to know. You really needed to know. So, also, Another thing I plan to do is get back on playing Legend of Zelda. I want to get back into that and get off of this. So like I said, unless I hear something like I did on April 23rd, I'm done with this. I want to get on with my life. I want to get you back into training. I want to get you back into teaching. I would like to show you, and let's see if I got it in here. Oh, of course. It's buried. There it is. I want to do a full tutorial on how to use a smartphone, because I got some feedback the other day and they were not happy with me not getting to the point of how to use a smartphone. They did not realize there were things I needed to teach them. So I'll get into this. There are other things I want to teach you guys. So hopefully that's exactly what we'll do. Like I said, I got 2 more remote control symbol videos that I'll pop up later on this week, and then I will do this. And I also want to create 3, not just 1, but 3 navigating my YouTube channel videos, 1 for your phone, 1 for your TV, and 1 for this. So hang in there, folks. Those videos are coming. Oh, by the way, Crazy Josh Cravey, I have been watching your videos from doing a video a day. I got a lot to review. I got a lot to ask you questions about. So hopefully next time we do a live stream like this, I can start asking you some questions and we'll get back into this. I appreciate all you guys' patience. I really do. And I care about you. I want you to do well. I am babbling here, and that's not what I want to do. But anyway, I did want you to know I have other things planned. I still have the Math Doesn't Suck book, and I will get into that hopefully in the next couple of days. All right, I want to thank you guys very much for watching this presentation. I will tell you more in a future presentation, so I'd like for you to stay tuned.